Hey there, boys and girls. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollow Weekly. Nick and George here with... You've been watching Jason X wrong.
That's right.
Have a good night. Bye. That's it.
Goodbye. If
Try
you
again.
think Jason X sucks, you've been watching it wrong.
You've been watching it wrong.
We're not saying you're wrong. You said you've been watching it wrong, and we'll try to show you how in a brief amount of time. So you're really passionate about this movie. I know a lot
Yes.
of people who listen to us regularly already know this, but give the quick version of your history with this movie.
It was one of the first horror movie DVDs I bought at a Blockbuster. That and Army of Darkness. I bought it because I was like, ooh, hockey mask. I know that's...
And you're like
Jason.
super young.
Yeah, this was like 6th grade.
Okay. Yep.
6th grade.
Yep.
I was like, ooh, I know that's the
And
Jason
you hadn't been
mask.
watching a lot of horror movies before this.
Mostly, like if like I would see like the slashes on like TBS or like you know, on random cable channels
Right.
growing up.
But you weren't a big fan yet. You just
I loved the Universal monsters.
Okay.
And I loved Halloween growing up. But
Okay.
like I wasn't like real savvy to the horror. I was more savvy to the holiday
got
and
it.
the Universal monsters and like the ones you see in pop culture.
Got it. Yes.
Like I knew who Chucky was,
Right,
but
right.
I'd never seen a Child's Play film.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
And then so this comes out and you buy it, you take it home, and you remember the first time you watched it?
Dude, it was like I had this like preconceived notion of what a Jason film was going to be.
Sure.
And it was like violent kills, check. Hockey mask, check. Some boobies, check. A story that I most likely don't care about. That's there.
That's there.
Right. It hit everything.
Right.
It hit every. Like it was a slasher movie.
So you weren't surprised. That's so strange.
The quality of the film
Right.
was not a factor.
Right. I got you. Right? And it was super fun, and you're enjoying it, and like. Okay.
And the special features are great too because the
Right.
special features had like there's like 2 things or 3 things that I always consider like horror movie film school. One is Cinemassacre's Monster Madness, all of those. The second would be the Bravo's top horror movie, scary movie moments,
Yep.
and then the third one I would say is the special features on the Jason X DVD because they do a really cool history of Jason and Friday the 13th and a little bit of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh no shit.
And they have a lot of guests in it. In fact, it was my first run-in with Joe Bob Briggs.
Oh, that's I gotta see this. I
think I found it online once. It's really good.
I wanna see
and
it.
then
Okay.
because then I wasn't able to make
my
the,
school's not complete. I've only done 2 or 3.
You got to see the
classes.
other ones, but I never was able to make the connection of like the monster. That was the Monster Vision guy, and then it wasn't until like
Right.
a couple of years back,
Sure.
I connected everything. I was like, oh wow, that's wild. But they go through all of. In fact, I would say this: if you hate Jason X, watch that special feature because
Right.
it's like the best Jason documentary.
That's-
and then that flipped those suckers, so we could clear those off the schedule.
So, but and that's one of the things about movies, right? It's all your experience. Your experience
right.
of it. Your experience of Jason X includes the documentary.
I like if I had to go on a run right now. I haven't rewatched Army of Darkness in a long time. But
Right.
like if you put a gun in my hands, like which movie's better, Jason X or Army of Darkness? Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell. I would probably go with Jason X. I would.
right, and hence this episode, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing, right? I wanted to surprise you with something. We did not prepare this.
I know we went and got some pizza
in
and you
advance.
were about to
but
tell me.
I,
You're
right.
like, no.
I just wanted to surprise you with this thing because I started thinking about why I like Jason X. I actually liked it, even though I like giving you shit. I liked it before I met you. I've always liked Jason X.
Right.
I never thought it was great, right, or good, maybe even.
It's okay to admit.
But right. But I thought it was fun good, right?
Right.
Like that kind of good, in at least, right? And that's not automatic, right? Like there are a lot of movies where people really hate on them, and it seemed like the premise was going to be so fun, like an Alien Resurrection, and it doesn't work out that way. But in this case, I genuinely liked it, right? I just didn't think about it that much, and then when I started thinking about what context would you even put Jason X in, that's when I realized that Jason X is the Citizen Kane of its genre.
Thank you.
It is the Lawrence of Arabia.
Thank you.
It's the Exorcist of its genre. And let me make this case to you, okay? Because the genre of this movie is not horror in space. Because that's Alien and Infinite Horizon and legitimate masterpiece movies where they're not in the neighborhood of Jason X, right? This movie genre is franchise movies that go to space.
That's
right?
Yeah, because like Leprechaun.
That's the genre of this movie. This movie is not space horror. This movie is franchise in space horror. And I give you the list of franchise in space horror for comparison to Jason X, the greatest movie ever made in its own in its own genre by a mile. You ready?
Yes.
Leprechaun 4.
Who cares?
In space.
Space.
I wasn't counting on your reaction to these. The Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars.
The Brave Little Alex loves the Brave Little Toaster. I've never seen that, but I can guarantee it's
Fortress
trash.
2, Re-entry.
Wait, what's it called?
Fortress 2, Re-entry.
I've never seen Fortress 1.
Okay. Moonraker. The worst James Bond movie of all time.
It did have a good level on the GoldenEye game back in the day.
It did. It absolutely did. But it's a fucking terrible.
Nope,
it's the worst James Bond. Wait, Hellraiser Bloodline.
That goes to
Great
space?
value.
Is that the great value Hellraiser? I've never seen like the
Ice
second.
Age Collision Course.
I can focus on Ice Age.
Yeah, but Ice Age 2, no. And then to close off, wait, hold on. There's one more on the list. What is this crap? Never mind. Jason X. So in the neighborhood of the movies of its genre,
it's
Leprechaun 4.
It's
Fortress 2. Right?
I'm saying.
Right? So this movie is a masterpiece. So first of all, in its own context of what it is, it's actually surprisingly well done, given what happens when franchises go to space. That's
very true.
That's number one. Number two is, this is a weird test just for me. We've covered this many times, where I use how memorable something is as a test of its quality, right? So like if you ask me off the top of my head, in Quiet Place, I saw it in the theater, right? Mm-hmm. I haven't seen it since. Quiet Place, like tell me a couple scenes in Quiet Place. I could do it like that. Because I can unroll a scene from Quiet Place in my head. I can't remember a single fucking moment from the movie Winchester. I spent an hour and a half of my life watching it.
We've watched Criterion movies that I've completely forgotten.
Right, that you can't remember. Right, exactly. So when I go back in my head of the Friday the 13th movies, I've seen them all, and I think about memorable scenes, right? So I've got tons of scenes from 1, and I've got tons of scenes from 3 and 4 and 6, and not 5 so much. And then when I count them up, Jason X is way up there. It's actually past Takes Manhattan, and
no question,
and Goes to Hell, and all the others, right? Like I really liked the android killer robot.
Oh, she was great,
right? I like that character. I like the setting. So my point is that I could remember whole scenes from Jason X where I could just unroll them in my head. And to me, that's at least a mark of the fact that they made a movie that was interesting and fun, right?
I agree. You've said not one thing wrong. That's all I have to say.
Right. But there are some problems with Jason X, obviously. Right?
I'll say this.
Yes.
Let me get my grapes out of the way.
Okay.
Is the music great? No.
Okay.
It's not. And in fact, I made the mistake of rewatching some of it before this episode just to make sure my memory was fresh. And there was some clunkers in there. Like there's some sound effects, like when Jason punches the android's head off, it makes like the kung fu sound. There's no need for that. That didn't add nothing. She's a cyborg. They couldn't have made like electricity noises or like sparks fly. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a little bit. There's some shit.
Clearly.
They spent all their budget on the VR game with that 3D animation that Jason ends up hacking.
Yes.
Is the music great? No. Is it particularly well shot? No, it's not.
Okay.
It's competently shot.
Yeah. Yes. That's a perfect word for it. With competently shot with moments.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll say it. Like the close up on Uber Jason with his new eye, the bloodshot eyes.
Totally.
Like that's great.
Totally. I think the action scenes, even though they're really cheesy, like they're shot perfect. The cheesy.
Dude, I forgot when she goes to cartwheel spin kick him. It's just her sped up. I didn't know that.
That stuff is amazing. It's just, and it's fun. It's like bad fun, but in the right way. Like that, all that stuff is good. I love the VR scene. That was actually the most memorable scene to me, because I remember in real time, the first time I watched Jason X, whatever that was, I don't remember when it was, but I remember that it struck me. It was like, I was like, did this movie just become self-aware? Like,
Right.
it was like a moment of, wait, this movie knows what it is. Like, up to then I was like, this movie just might be bad Sci-Fi Channel, like whatever. And then that scene happened. I'm like, wait, this movie knows more about itself.
It knows how cheesy it is because there's so many puns. In fact, I didn't bring my notes with me, but there's so many like puns right before they died. Like when the guy falls on the screw and spins, and she goes, "Oh, he's screwed," and then the girl gets sucked through. She goes, "Oh, this sucks." There's so many puns that I really
Not
like.
exactly Oscar Wilde, but yeah, exactly,
but they're great.
They are great. They're exactly right for what it's supposed to be, right?
Right.
So, and I think that all of that is amazing. We've been talking about Jason X for however many minutes now, and the fact that we haven't got to what is top 3 kills in the whole franchise. Like
yeah, you want to talk about like, oh, Jason X sucks. Okay, give me a top 10 list.
Right.
And I guarantee number 1 or 2 is going to be the face.
Then yep, nitrogen and hydro, whatever that is, the fate liquid. That freeze moment is just incredibly good and incredibly memorable. Right, you're not going to forget that happening. And what people forget about that because it's a meme and it's like whatever, but legitimately scary. Not scary in the way like a Friday, like the first one would be, where it would give you nightmares, scary or whatever. But it was they didn't screw up the lead up to the moment. Like when he sits straight up and it's hilarious, but then he's lurking around. And I was skeptical going in, like watching the movie in the setting, that they could put Jason anywhere where I wouldn't just laugh. Because he would be so out of place in anywhere in the setting. All I've ever seen him is in the woods. And now he's just going to be like by the modern men's room in a spaceship. I'll be like, what the fuck is... So I was like, it's all going to be hilarious. But when he's stalking around on the set, they made it feel like a Friday the 13th movie. They made it feel like Jason was right around the corner and watching from the background, and it didn't feel jarring. It just felt like the space version of what he does in the woods. And the fact that they pulled that off and got that right is really good.
And I love the set design on this movie.
Totally.
It's like, I mean, it's not like perfect.
No.
Sci-fi thing. But like I'm a big fan. Like we were talking about this before we were recording. Like I like the aesthetic. I think it's retro futurism?
Yes.
Something like that, like very Jetson-y, like that kind of stuff. I love like cheeseball.
Forbidden Planet.
Yeah, like Forbidden Planet. Like I really like cheeseball sci-fi. Like we just recorded our episode for Criterion on Westworld. Like that's the most recent thing in a long time that I've liked that sci-fi.
Yep.
And so Jason X fills in that cheesy sci-fi kind of fun void. And I think Jason is way more interesting. Like we talked a little bit about his story. It's a little wonky. It's a little all over the place. So like, forgive him if they throw him up in outer space for a little bit, but he starts off killing Cronenberg. You're fine.
Yeah, that's worth the price of admission right there.
That's what I'm saying.
Cronenberg's there. What's that?
It's got his endorsement.
It was incredible.
I don't know if
paycheck.
I don't want to speak on behalf of David Cronenberg.
But it was amazing. It's an amazing cameo, and that's what I mean. Is even the way that was shot by someone who knows what they're doing. They know how funny it is that David Cronenberg is in this frame on the spaceship talking about Jason Voorhees. Like it's like you could just they shot him like looming like a villain in a Pixar movie. Like it was just like.
And to be honest, I after rewatching some scenes, to brush up for the episode, like I still like the technology aspect of it. Like it's not super sci-fi. Like there's a few things, but like the medical stuff they do with like like when the dude gets his arm hacked off.
Yep.
I always liked when they put like that little thing on it, like it sucked it up so he could retouch it later on. I love that shit.
And like the microscopic ants that like put you
those little silver things that like fly up and down.
Yeah, that stuff was I mean, it wasn't great special effects, but it was really fun. It was really
That's what I'm
fun.
saying.
The way you're talking about, like the retro futuristic, feel.
And I'm glad they talked about like Cronenberg was talking about how he wants to test Jason because he has like regenerative abilities. Like before, like we were just supposed to believe that like, okay, this happens. Why? But at least in this one, they had the fucking balls to be like, he's kind of like this mutant.
You're right. In its own way, I never thought of that, but in its own way, it's more radical than the Friday the 13th, 2009 like he's not supernatural move, which fans freaked out about.
Right.
But in this one, it was like, we have science for why he...
Or no, we want to test the science. Like, they know, that's the cool thing. They couldn't figure it out. Right. Like, that's like an interesting ass story.
Totally, yeah.
I mean, they didn't go any further.
No, it was everything in this movie is the excuse to get us to the next fun thing in the movie, right? So it didn't go anywhere because it didn't have to. But
the second scene is the simulation of the camp.
Yes.
With the two ladies. You want to smoke pot or have sex?
That's the scene I was talking about. That's that was the scene I was talking about when
okay.
I'm sorry. That's the scene
I was thinking of the video game one.
I'm sorry. That's the scene I meant when I was like,
no, that
became self-aware and I was like, wow, this movie's like, it's a weird feeling because it's like watching someone walk past you on the sidewalk and like you're assessing no threat, like it's a grandmother's no threat, and then they get past you and then you just catch a look and they shoot you a really evil look like I was just about to fuck you up, and you're like, you get a chill, you're like, oh my god, I didn't see that coming at all, right? And this movie would have like, it would be going along and then that scene happened and I was like, this movie is smart. Like, I didn't see that coming at all.
I think this movie needs its second win.
Yes.
We gave it to Halloween 3. Everyone agreed. I don't think it's the same.
It's the masterpiece of its genre.
That's true.
I already proved
it's the masterpiece of its genre.
I already proved it.
It's the masterpiece of its genre.
Space franchise horror next to Emmanuel 4 in space.
Fortress 2. Who's seen that?
I forgot Emmanuel in Space.
Was that the other one?
Porn.
Oh, no.
I remember that porn franchise from like Cinemax?
No.
Like a million of them? No.
I don't,
that one even went to space. Like, that's what I'm saying is when franchises go to space, when great directors go to space, you get Alien in 2001. But when franchises go to space, you get Leprechaun.
This was close to being a softcore porn in space. There's a lot of sex scenes. There's a lot.
Well, that's all Friday the 13th.
A lot of this one.
It's not like
very close. The music was terrible quality, so it could have been.
There were some brutal kills. There was like a massacre in the control space at some point where somebody got so spread out. All I remember is the joke was, the Cinema Snob made about it was catering around her sucks, but it's just the guy strewn all over a control panel.
Are you talking about the there's the one guy sitting there and then like he brings the head out, freaks the guy out, which I like. There's a lot of cheesy moments. I wish I had remembered to grab my notes, but I like all the one-liners. I like the cheap, not so great homages to like Alien 3.
Yep.
I think that's because this film is essentially Alien.
Yes.
It's something's lurking on this ship.
Yes.
But is the execution great? Yeah, pretty goddamn good to be number one in its genre.
No, I mean, legitimately pretty good in terms of it's memorable, it's fun. And all you got to do is put this movie up next to, Jason Goes to Hell to see what happens when you do something that's crazy,
right,
but isn't fun. Because Jason Goes to Hell might be better than a lot of people think it is. Like, I think Jason Goes to Hell has some interesting moments, or try to do some interesting stuff, but it's not fun. This is fun.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I saw on Twitter, Ryan Turek had Jason Lives as number one.
Yes,
which I think makes sense.
Yeah.
Then he had Jason X Dead Last.
Dead Last.
Dead
See,
Last.
It's not Dead Last.
It's not Dead Last.
No, it's not.
I think
there's no way.
There's no.
Not
because it's way fun. And here's what I'm thinking.
Fun's not just. It's not just fun. I think it's also, like I said, it's got enough memorable, creative moments where you really felt like. Because I think at the bottom of every moviegoer's heart, I think the worst betrayal, unless you're being really like cinema, Criterion Collection about it, but. Basically, if you're looking at how you betray a moviegoer, it's like, I paid for this and you didn't even try.
Right.
That's the worst feeling. Is I gave you money to entertain me, and it's not that it wasn't just. It's not that it wasn't just bad. It's just you weren't even trying.
Right.
Like, you couldn't have been trying for this movie to be what it is. Right. And this movie, you could tell. Because there are a lot of horror movies that feel like that, right? And this movie, you could tell if they were doing that, there wouldn't be the nitrogen scene, there wouldn't be the recreation of the camp scene, there wouldn't be the crazy, amazing action sequence of the android blowing Jason to bits, and him killing her with the machete after her big introduction, like Indiana Jones style. It's the reverse of the when the guy's, swinging the things around and Indy just takes out his gun and shoots him, right? It's like, she comes out and she's like, yeah, bitches, and clacks her guns or whatever. And Jason just like machetes her in the chest.
Game over.
Everyone's on the side like, oh, like, which is, I mean, it was just that they wouldn't be that good.
If I'm editing, like, say like they have like at the Hollywood Bowl, like, a Jason or live orchestra, and they're like, Nick, we need a montage of the best moments from the Friday the 13th films.
Yes.
I'll be damned if I don't pull
3 or 4 from this.
Yeah. And
more than Jason Takes Manhattan.
More than the majority of the other ones. Because how many shots am I going to need of Jason in the woods? I got it already. Right. I can get the majority of my shit from Jason Lives.
Right.
But there's a lot of unique shit from Jason X I'm going to be able to pull in there.
Well, and this is my other secret argument. It's like an inner thought experiment I do with horror movies for some reason because I'm weird, but for every horror movie I've ever cared about, like enough to like think about and wasn't just like, wow, I hope I never think about that again. Like any movie like that does decently. I think to myself, what if this was a haunted house? What if this was a Universal Maze? Right? I thought that
while rewatching it.
Right? And if you had like just all you got to do is think to yourself, You've built a ground, and for some reason you're allowed to do Halloween mazes, and you're really excited because you're making haunts and you're doing your thing, and they're like, but you can have 5 mazes, but you have to have 2 Friday the 13th. You have to have 2, right? So you're gonna have one. You're gonna just take for the first one and make a maze out of it. Now what are you gonna do? You're gonna take 5?
Nope.
Right? Or you have guts and take X. Right?
You're going to take
and
X,
you're going to have an amazing maze.
And people are going to go through the maze, and when they get out, they're going to go, wow, that was better than what I thought it was going to be, which is probably why you guys should rewatch Jason X.
Right? Because the rest of them look so similar to each other. Right?
Yeah, it's got a flavor.
Right? And Jason Takes Manhattan, I think, I have, for some reason, I have a sentimental like for that movie, and I know it's garbage, but I fight for it occasionally because I'm sentimental. But there's only really nothing that happens on the boat is memorable at all, and that's half the movie, right? So literally, it's the shot of him walking down the middle of Central Park and knocking the things over, and the gang kids with the boombox, and then the punching the guy. Right.
Yeah.
And a couple iconic him framed against New York skyline. That's it. That's all the atmosphere that movie has.
Done.
It has no other things.
That's it.
Right. Like there's no other way. Jason X has legitimately interesting places.
Bang it a bang it a boom
to
bomb.
Move us around and
next
go.
thing you know, the credits are rolling and you're crying.
Yeah.
You're just like I'm sad it's
because you're like I just watched the masterpiece of its genre.
I just watched the Citizen Kane of its genre. I like that.
The defense
Jason
rests.
X, the Citizen Kane of its genre.
Exactly.
Because people are going to be like, well, no, it's no slasher, and then we're going to have to be like the technicalities, bitch. That's where you got to read the fine print.
You got to read the fine print. Franchise space horror.
So I guess so. If we told them they watched Jason X wrong,
yes, we
now got to say go back. Rewatch it.
Yeah. Or, I mean, honestly, if you were already on board, just tell us because that would be optimal. Hopefully there's someone else out there in the universe.
There's got to be one.
There's
got to be one.
The way we do about this. That would be great. And then if you hadn't seen it, go check it out and let us know what you thought after seeing it and hearing this and us spoiling the hell out of it. And then if you had watched it and you thought it was terrible, we want you to go rewatch it just from the standpoint of I've got 2 mazes I'm opening up, right? And I'm going to study which maze am I going to build in my backyard to make money on. I've got Friday one there. I got to pick one more maze. This has to be a contender.
What I would really love, I want them to do that.
Yes.
But in the rare case that someone who listens to this can make this happen, I want them to watch it the same way I watched it. If they can't. They won't be able to because if they've already seen Friday. But I want them to find a friend who's never seen a Jason film. There's more of them out there than you think.
I remember you told me that. Yep.
Find someone who's never seen a Friday the 13th movie. They'll just know it from the hockey mask. That's it. Have them watch it with you and see what they think. Because I want to see if they have that same reaction I did to it. Then you could show them some of the other shit.
That's a very
then
good
show them
point.
Jason Lives and then call it a day.
But whatever category you're in, let us know what you think. And
until next time, stay scary. Watch a bunch of horror movies. Give us a review. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.